Hi, welcome to the PrismERP technical demonstration. Today we are going to learn about the performance appraisal process in PrismERP. Performance appraisal is used to evaluate employee performance over a specific period. It helps organization measure employee performance based on predefined criteria and supports decisions like salary increments, promotion, transfer, and other appraisal related action. In this session, we'll go through the complete performance appraisal workflow, starting from the performance rating system and then moving through the remaining appraisal process. So let's get started. Please note that all the data used in this demonstration are demo data created for training and presentation purposes only. They do not represent any real employee, customer, or organization. First, we are going to create a performance rating system. From the settings menu here, go to performance appraisal, then add performance rating system. A performance rating system is used to define how employees will be rated during the appraisal process. It allows the organization to create defined performance levels, assign scores, and define what action should be taken based on each rating. This is the performance rating system page. First, enter the rating system name. Next, enter the rating weightage if needed. Enter the title. The title can represent the performance level such as outstanding, excellent, good, or needs improvement. I'm going to add multiple title here. Enter the first title. Enter the code here. Now enter the point for the title, like outstanding is 5, good is 4. Next, enter percent from and percent to. These fields define the percentage range for the rating. For example, employees who score between 90 and 100% may receive an outstanding rating. Now select the preferred action. Preferred action defines what action the organization may take when an employee receives this rating. Depending on the appraisal result, you can choose option like salary increment, decrement, promotion, demotion. Like for outstanding performance, company will give the employee a promotion. For good performance, an increment. For average, no change. And for poor performance, the employee will get a salary decrement. If the organization wants to recommend a salary increase or decrease based on these ratings, we can specify the percentage here, otherwise we can simply keep it 0. For outstanding performance, we are giving 20% promotion. For good performance, we are giving 10% increment. For poor performance, the company will give the employee 10% salary decrement. Once all the information has been entered, click Save. The performance rating system has been created. This is the list. From here, we can view all existing rating systems, search for a specific one, and edit them whenever necessary. We can also activate or deactivate them according to our requirements. Now that the performance rating system has been created, let's move to the next step of the appraisal process. Let's create a performance criteria or KPI. From the settings menu again, navigate to the add performance criteria. A performance criteria or KPI, which stands for key performance indicator, is used to define what will be measured during an employee's performance appraisal. This is the performance criteria or KPI creation page. First, enter the name of the KPI. This title should clearly describe what is being measured, for example, sales target achievement, attendance rate, or customer satisfaction score. Next, select the calculation type. There are two options, incremental and decremental. Select incremental if a higher value indicates better performance, for example, sales amount or customer satisfaction score. Select decremental if a lower value indicates better performance, for example, the number of customer complaints or absenteeism. Now select the criteria type. We have two options, qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative criteria are measured using numbers such as sales achieved, projects completed, or attendance percentage. Qualitative criteria are based on the quality of performance such as communication skills, leadership, teamwork, or problem-solving ability. Now select the unit. The unit defines how this KPI will be measured. Depending on the KPI, it could be percentage, number, hours, days, amounts, or any other applicable unit. We can select the KRA. KRA stands for Key Result Area. It represents the major area of responsibility that this KPI belongs to. I'm going to skip this part for now. If needed, we can also enter a short description. Once all the information has been entered, click Save. The KPI has now been created. This is the KPI list. From here, we can view all existing performance criteria, search for a specific KPI and edit them. We can activate or deactivate them here also. Now that we have created the KPI, let's move to the next step of the performance appraisal process. Now we are going to create a KPI category. From the settings menu here, go to appraisal and then add KPI category. We can enter the name and the order. KPI category is used to group similar performance criteria or KPIs together. Here we can see an option called target editable. If we select yes, the target for the KPIs under this category can be changed during the appraisal process. If we select no, the target will be remain fixed and cannot be modified. This is the KPI list. Since these categories have already been configured, we are not going to add a new one for this demonstration. Instead, we will use the existing categories in the next step. Now we are going to create a KPI group. From the settings menu, go to API, Performance Appraisal and then add KPI group. A KPI group is used to combine multiple performance criteria or KPI into a single group. Instead of assigning individual KPIs one by one during appraisal, you can create a reusable group and use it whenever required. Enter the group title. Next, select the category here. I'm going to choose general. Now let's add the performance criteria. From the drop down menu, select the criteria that we want to include. Now enter the weightage. Weightage indicates how much importance this particular KPI will have within the group. KPIs with higher weightage will have a greater impact on the overall appraisal score. We can continue adding multiple performance criteria with the respective weightage. One thing to keep in mind is that the combined weightage of all the criteria should always total 100%. I'm going to remove rest of the KPI. Now click Save. The performance criteria group has now been created. This is the criteria group list. From here we can search existing KPI groups, edit them. We can activate or deactivate the entire KPI group whenever needed. If we don't want to use a particular KPI in the group, we can also activate or deactivate the individual KPI without changing the rest of the group. Now that we have created the KPI group, let's move to the next step. Now we are going to Performance Appraisal Form. From the settings menu, go to Performance Appraisal and then add Performance Appraisal Form. A performance appraisal form is used to define the complete appraisal structure. It combines the rating system, performance criteria into a single appraisal form that can later be assigned to employees. First, enter the title here. Now select the branch. If this appraisal form is applicable to all branches, we can simply select all branch. Select the rating system. This is the rating system that we created earlier. It will be used to calculate employee performance and determine the final appraisal rating. Next, select the type. There are three options available. Select regular for the standard employee appraisal process. Select 360-degree if the employee's performance will be evaluated from multiple sources such as supervisors, peers, subordinates, and self-evaluation. Select functional if the approval is based mainly on the employee's job responsibilities or functional performance. Now let's complete the department information. If this appraisal form is only for a specific group of employees, select the relevant department, sub-department, section, and designation. Otherwise, we can leave these fields blank and the appraisal form will be applicable to employees from all the department. Now save it. The performance appraisal form has now been created. This is the performance appraisal form lid. Now let's open the performance appraisal form that we just created. This is the performance appraisal form details page. Since we have just created this appraisal form, we now need to define the performance criteria that will be used during the employee evaluation. First, click on the performance KPI group here. Click load. This page allows us to add one or more KPI groups to the appraisal form. As we can see, all the performance criteria under the selected group have been loaded. From the selected recorded criteria section, we can choose which KPIs we want to include in this appraisal form. If we want to include all the KPIs, we can simply just click all. Otherwise, you can select only the specific KPIs that are relevant for this appraisal. Next, let's define the group weightage. Enter the weightage for the group. Since I have only added one group, I'll add 100% here. Enter the order. If multiple KPI groups are added to the appraisal form, the order determines the sequence in which they will appear during the appraisal. Now let's move to the KPI weightage section. Now we have to adjust the weightage for each KPI. One thing, we need to make sure that the total KPI weightage within the group always adds up to 100%. I'll give 20 weightage for each criteria. Save it. Now let's configure the appraiser scoring weightage. This section defines how much each appraiser's evaluation will contribute to the employee's final appraisal score. For example, you can assign 20% to self, 40% to the manager, and 40% to the supervisor. Here as well, the combined weightage must always total 100%. Now save it. The KPI group has now been added to the appraisal form. Now we are going to approve the form. From here, approve the form. It has now been approved. Now let's create a performance appraisal. From the appraisal menu here, click on the create appraisal. Select the employee for whom the appraisal will be created. Click next. Now let's complete the appraisal information. First, select the branch. Now select the appraisal date. I'm going to keep the default date. Next, select the appraisal type. I'm going to choose evaluation. Select the outline type. There are 3 options available. I'm going to select regular. For performance appraisal settings, select the appraisal form. Now select the regular frequency. Depending on the organization appraisal policy, you can choose monthly, quarterly, half yearly. I'm going to choose monthly. Next, enter appraisal after. This specify after how many months the employee's appraisal will take place. Once all the record information has been entered, click save. The performance appraisal has now been created. Now let's move to the next step. This is the performance appraisal form for the selected employee. This form displays all the performance criteria or KPIs that will be used to evaluate the employee. As you can see, some KPIs are quantitative and while others are qualitative. For quantitative KPI, we first need to define the target that the employee is expected to achieve. To do that, click on target here. Now enter the target value. Like this, each quantitative KPI can have its own target based on the organization requirements. After entering the target value, repeat the same process for the remaining quantitative KPIs. Since qualitative KPIs are evaluated based on performance rather than numerical values, there is no need to define a target for them. Once all the target values have been entered, the appraisal form is ready for the evaluation process. Now we are going to assign the appraisers. To do that, navigate to the employee profile. Open the profile of the employee for whom we created the appraisal. From here, select the appraisal for each role. Now click save. The appraiser have now been assigned successfully. Now we are going to add the appraisal score. Click on this add score option here. Since there are 3 appraisers assigned to the employee, the evaluation will be completed in 3 stages. The drop-down menu, first select the appraiser. Now let's start the evaluation. For qualitative KPI, select the appropriate rating based on the employee's performance. For quantitative KPI, enter how much the employee has actually achieved against the assigned target. As we enter the score, the system automatically calculates the total point, weighted score, and the overall rating. If any added commission are required, we can enter them in the note section. Now save it. As we can see, the system now shows scoring level completed 1 out of 3. This means one appraiser has completed the evaluation. Now repeat the same process for the remaining appraiser. The supervisor is now going to evaluate the appraisal. Level 2 has been completed. Now let's complete the final stage, the manager. Once all 3 appraisers have submitted their evaluation, the scoring process is completed. Now let's verify and approve the appraisal. After approval, the employee's rating level is updated automatically based on the final appraisal score. From here, we can also download the KPI report. This report provides a complete summary of the employee's appraisal. As we can see, all the remarks here. We can also add remarks here. This is the total breakdown of the employee's appraisal score. We have now completed the performance appraisal process in PrismERP. Throughout this process, we created a rating system, defined performance criteria, KPI group, created an appraisal form, assigned KPI, created employee appraisal, assigned appraisers, completed the evaluation, and finally verified and approved the appraisal. So that's it for the performance appraisal today. Thanks for watching us. Bye.